Right off the bat, be ready for you to shake in your seats. Not just because of how good you might find this movie, but because of how bloody loud it is. The music by Ravi Basrur is relentless and at points maybe even deafening. But it is this music, along with Bhuvan Gowda's cinematography, that makes you want to clap at almost every other scene. And I have to say, Rocking Star Yash absolutely carries this Prashanth Neel directorial. His style, his beard, and his suits invoked whistles and claps at almost every other scene. The clap to movie ratio was outrageous. The movie is made out to be so epic that even a book has an introduction scene. Every character gets an introduction at a level that you cannot even fathom. Think of a big scale. Think of the scale of KGF 1. Put that on steroids, and somehow this is even bigger than that. The sets, the VFX, the dialogues, everything is meant to be larger than life. Now, I'm not saying the movie is perfect. The story is a bit lacking compared to the first movie. Disclaimer, when I say KGF 1, I only consider that movie to be 45 minutes long because the first hour and a half of that movie was a struggle for me to get through. But once I got past that, once Rocky had made it into KGF, the movie becomes so good. And in my mind, I have decided that that was the movie. That was the movie in its entirety. There were no unnecessary item songs. There were no dialogues like, if you're bad, I'm your dad. Or when a girl tells him, how dare you, he replies with, how fair you. Thank God there was less of that in this movie. I'm not saying there was none, but there was less. And that's progress. Also, special shout out to the writers of this movie because they keep giving us recaps of the first one every now and then. And there is even an entire song which literally reenacts what happened after he entered the mines in the first movie. In case you haven't seen the first one and you just want to go for this, do it. Sanjay Dutt is back with a bang. Yes, he looks exactly like Ragnar from the Vikings, but the movie has justified it by saying that he's adopted the lifestyle of Vikings, so we allow it. Also, it's Sanjay Dutt with face tats and a long ponytail. How much more badass can a character get? So I'm not complaining. His look is outrageous. He looks scary. He stands taller than anyone else in this movie. And I think that's just Sanjay Dutt. I will say though, he didn't really have much screen time. The main star of this movie was and always will be Yash. And one tiny complaint that I did have, or one piece of criticism that I did have, I think they modulated Sanjay Dutt's voice to sound a little rougher and more coarse. Guys, it's Sanjay Dutt. Did you not see what he did with the character of Kanchachina? That man is scary if you just let him be. He is so good. Raveena Tandon also gets a grand entry in this movie. And I'm not comparing, but between Sanjay Dutt and Yash, it really becomes tough for her to hold her own. Especially because she's just angry throughout the movie. That is the entirety of the emotion she portrays. Now, if by any chance the editors of this movie are watching this review, guys, what was with the editing? The editing makes you feel like you're watching a trailer. It is so relentless. There were so many blackouts in the movie. You know how in a trailer the music builds up, there's a blackout and then the scene takes place? That's almost the entirety of this movie. Everything is so impactful that after a point it starts to mess with your brain. And like the first one, the storytelling in this again is not linear, and that at points can become confusing. However, I will say that I have seen a lot of movies, but I have never ever seen anything like KGF. It is its own genre, it has its own style, except the parts where they copy Mad Max and Fast and Furious. And if you like the first one, you are absolutely going to love this one. If you didn't like the first one, trust me, you just have to surrender to the movie, to the music, to the experience that is KGF. I genuinely do not remember the last time I had so much fun watching a movie in the theater. Except RRR. Shout out to the writing department. There are some great dialogues in this movie. Like, खून से लिखी कहानी है साहब, ये साही से खत्म नहीं होगी, ये फिर से खून ही मांगेगी. But then they also go and write dialogues where they call the girl entertainment. And yes, even though he is kind of an anti-villain, you don't want to hear those words coming out of anyone's mouth. Come on guys, it's 2022, we can do a better job with this. Now, having watched RRR in the theatre recently, I should be used to the scale of these movies, but the scale of this movie is bonkers. It gets even bigger after the interval. The action scenes, the CG, KGF in itself transforms from a bloody mine to a township, and it is ridiculous to watch. Now, this might be a bit of a stretch. There is a scene in the movie where a follower of Rocky is taking his side and telling Sanjay Dutt that Sanjay Dutt cannot do anything to harm Rocky. And to all of these dialogues, Sanjay Dutt replies, "तुम्हारे उस भगवान का खून तो बहता है ना?" Now, this might be a bit of a stretch, but this entire scene really seemed inspired and kind of reminded me of the face-off between Batman and Superman in Dawn of Justice, where Batman looks as Superman, who the general people look at as a god because of all that he has done and the powers he possesses, and asks him, "Tell me, do you bleed? You will." And it just felt reminiscent of that scene, and that was actually pretty cool because these movies are literally equivalent to superhero movies. Movies that come out of the DCEU or the MCU. And the characters played by these actors are literal superheroes. Now, I have to admit, I am fairly new to this genre of movies. Movies that come out of the south of India in general. But so far, I am absolutely loving it. I have seen RRR and I have seen KGF 2 in the theaters. These two movies have been some of the best cinematic experiences I have had in my life. All in all, I think it was a great movie. Personally, I still enjoyed the last 45 minutes of the first movie as compared to this movie. The story did not have much substance to it because he already was king and he just had to get rid of a few obstacles, so as to say. But the movie's ending was a bit emotional. It did have some meaning. It was an absolute delight to watch this movie in the theater. And again, I would urge you, go with a big group, go with your friends, go with your family. Enjoy the spectacle on the big screen. I'll give KGF 2 7.5 or 8 KGFs out of KGF just because it was such a great experience. The music was enthralling. The acting was good. The style, as always, carried the movie. The editing was so unique in itself that even though it baffled me and confused me at times, I really enjoyed it. And the cinematography, my god, the DOP of this movie has just had the time of his life. There are so many wallpaper-worthy moments in this movie. If you've seen the movie, let me know how you liked it down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the review down in the comments below as well. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram where I post such similar content. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I will see you soon for another review. Till then, take care. Peace. Oh, also hang out for a mid-credit scene. Okay, bye.